Welcome. Today we're going to be discussing the secrets of the greats, the art of meditation. Let me go ahead and share my screen. All right, let's see. Yep, cool. All right. And let's just kind of practice here, make sure we know. I haven't went live in a while, so that's how you stop. Okay. So while we wait for people to arrive, essentially, the art of meditation helps you transcend the four elements earth, water, air, and fire by accessing the secret of the greats, which is the ether or the astral light. When we access this astral light, we're accessing the causal dimensions and are able to create effects rather than being trampled by effects. We're actually able to be the effect. So, in order to do that, you have to pull in energy from the causal plane, and various religious rituals and esoteric rites from all ages have always been to tap into the 0 point energy of this astral light or ether, or chakra or chi, to be able to access the higher dimensions to create change in the lower dimensions. Now, this ether or higher cosmic energy is what we use to transmute the lower vessel into its higher form, which in this world is a school, a realm where we're growing in the same way like a womb, like a mother matrix. So the womb is the matrix, and we're in the matrix. And because of that, we have to utilize this opportunity to give birth to the child, which is only you can only give birth to the inner child through the virgin consciousness. So the virgin consciousness is what you have to access, which is streamlined to that 0 point energy, the zero, the womb. That 0 point energy is the middle of the sine wave of the line of truth. Now, this line of truth is where the realm of duality plays its drama as the souls incarnate and play their specific role. All of our actions that we embody here in the physical realm has a higher intention from the causal plane, from the unseen architects of reality and the unseen demigods and cosmo-creators and creators that are all below the supreme personality of Godhead, which is the Krishna, Christ, or the Logos of the ancients, which is the organizing principle. So meditation helps us get in touch with this organization principle within, and helps organize our inner matrix so we can get in touch with this organization principle within, and helps organize our inner matrix so we can access and reflect that inner, the kingdom of heaven is within. So when the kingdom of heaven is within, so once you start initiating inner glory, you're able to manifest it on the external plane, essentially. So the main art of meditation can be done utilizing the principles of the fourth way taught by Jerdif, which was a great esoteric scientist who utilized ancient practices of the early Christians, the true Christians, which interpreted the Bible in four main ways. There's seven different layers of the Bible, but the four ways being, spirit, mind, and body. So not just the body of the letter of the word, but the spiritual meaning of each interaction, which takes place within the books. So most of these books are helping us access the internal plane, which gives us access to that ether and allows us to essentially surf the cosmic web, as above, so below. We surf the web here and now on our computers, but that's just a copy of the internal web that we are able to essentially surf. And why it kind of surf is because when you tap into that inner plane, it is kind of like a vast ocean that you're surfing, uh, and able to experience those subtle realities. So let me just go ahead and share my screen. I do have a presentation prepared for everyone tonight. So let's see. So, the secrets of meditation. In the Bible and the ancient holy texts is thy eye be single, your whole body will fill with light. When you put your attention between the eyebrows, you're utilizing the forces of Kether, which is above duality. That single eye is the unifying factor of the causal plane, and the two eyes which perceive duality are the two thieves in which Jesus is crucified in between the two thieves, because essentially these two eyes lie just because the physical realm is Maya, because our internal condition, we are under amnesia and unable to awaken to our higher sense of being. So essentially, the reason is that we see through only the physical eyes, which are the only perceive the truth of appearances. As Thomas H. Burgoyne said, there's the truth of appearances and the truth of the causes. And as you climb up Jacob's ladder, you're able to perceive those higher truths, so as transmute the lower truths and essentially make them useless as you understand the higher keys. So the eye be single, your whole body will fill with light, also keeping a simple eye to be able to look at the world through the eyes of a child, non-duality, and to be able to pierce through the appearances of the physical realm and enter into the causes that are the archetypal invisible lords or archetypal forms. See, we acquire forms as we transverse down the ladder. When we go from the causal plane down to the physical realm, we go down to the world of forms and desires, and we acquire these various different bodies within that are all embodied within the physical vessel at once, here and now. So we're multidimensional beings, and we actually have access to these 6 other bodies, not just the physical. We utilize the etheric body when we're utilizing heat energy or pranayama, or able to feel, like if you focus on your foot, you should feel a tingling sensation in your foot. If you focus on your third eye, your attention's there, you should feel energy or electricity actually rushing there. Once you become advanced, you should be able to place your attention on your third eye, and all of a sudden you hear it crackling. This means you're very tapped into your physical body, as well as the hormonal processes, as well as the etheric body, which is able to actually transmute that magnetism and create an effect which you can actually hear, see, and feel via focus of attention of energy. And that's actually how you activate various parts of your body, through the attention. When we go through the mantras at the top of the head, E, and we place our attention on the pineal gland, and we go to the throat chakra and we go and we place our attention on the throat chakra, and we go to the heart chakra and go oh, and we place that energy there. We're actually moving that electromagnetic energy to that key spot, which then accesses the portal of the etheric plane, the astral plane, and so on and so forth, because the 7 glands of the body are the mediators, or the areas where the energy processes and manifests in the physical realm. Another key meditation from the ancient Christian scriptures: be still and know that I'm God. So stillness, silence, and darkness are the best places to acquire gnosis and knowledge. When we speak of gnosis, we're not talking about prison planet gnosis. We're simply talking about knowledge of the inner being and its relationship to God and the universe. So be still and know that I'm God. Be still as a stone. The first practice of initiatic esoteric science is to remain still in your whole body. Don't even flinch. Don't move. Don't grapple. Don't scratch. For 10 minutes, set a timer and try to be still for 10 minutes. And you'll feel that it'll be hard at first. But once you start acquiring and do it 10 times for 10 minutes, you'll be able to master the body. And once you keep it still, you'll be able to enter to the next plane and the next practice. So we also learn meditation practices from the Bhagavad Gita. Lord Krishna says, for one to practice meditation, one should make a seat in a secluded and sacred place, neither too high or low. Seated firmly, the yogi should try to purify the heart by controlling his mind, senses, and activities by focusing his mind on one point. Now, please watch the video Turning the Light Around previously on my channel, because this goes into how to actually focus the mind on one point. What is that one point that we're focusing the mind on? Is it a dot on the wall? Is it a cube? Well, actually, what you're wanting to do is you're going to want to turn the spotlight around and place it in your central nervous system. You're going to want to place your focus on the heart, which is your center. And by doing that, you're going to tap into the invisible aspect of yourself that's actually Bluetooth or frequency Wi-Fi connected to this body in your center. So when you're activating the center, you're going to 0 point energy which is actually allowing you to transcend the physical plane, go to the causal plane, and initiate change psychologically, astrally, and physically, so that your even physical appearance can change, your emotional states can change, and you can start transmuting your vices into virtues and following the 10 commandments, essentially, of the order and laws of the Lord, which is the supreme good. Essentially, we have to become control these horses, like Krishna says, the senses are wailing, riling horses that need to be tamed. The only thing that can be tamed is the 0 point observer within the center. And once you go into the one that knows and not the one that experiences, you're able to tap into that 0 point energy and essentially be able to tame the horses. And then you're able to utilize the physical body, the mind, the emotions, and the physical body appropriately rather than haphazardly. So an initiate handles his horses appropriately. Someone who is in the earth stage of consciousness is not handling their horses, so they're being led astray here or there, and essentially is unable to access the stillness within, which is the controlling center. I recommend Jurdif, the fourth way, practicing self-observation, self-remembering, so that from every moment, instead of just, yes, posture is important. If you put your spine correct and your chin straight, tongue at the roof of the mouth, just complete the circuit with your fingers, pull up slightly on your lower muscles, abdomen muscles slightly. And then when you mix the in-breath with the out-breath, that means you're going to breathe in and then breathe out without pausing. So you breathe in and then out. And before fully out, you breathe in. And before fully in, you breathe out. And before fully out, you breathe in. This is all with having the tongue at the roof of the mouth and slowly gazing to the horizon between your eyebrows, because you want to activate Kether, which is the singular point where you can commune with the Father who's in secret. Krishna explains how to meditate in the Bhagavad Gita. He says he must hold the body, neck, and head firmly in a straight line. Between the eyebrows, some say the nose, but that's a misinterpretation. Yeah, the nose is going to put stress on the body and not allow you to access that inner plane. So you want to have a slightly gaze forward, chin up, back straight, so that the electromagnetic energy can travel, tongue at the roof of the mouth to complete the circuit. So you must hold the body, neck, head firmly in a straight line and gaze between the eyebrows without allowing eyes to wander. Thus, with an unwavering mind, devoid of fear and free from lust, one should meditate on the Supreme Lord and make him the ultimate goal in life. See, the Supreme Lord is the Logos. It's love and wisdom combined in such a futile event that the utterance of consciousness was uttered in the first dawn of days. That utterance was the Christ, the Supreme Lord, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead, that moved upon the waters and manifested all the universes high and low. And we are recipients and physical manifestations of that realm. And we're here to grow our spirit bodies so that we can climb Jacob's ladder back to the heavens, essentially the prodigal son story. We've come down in the physical realm to experience knowledge of good and evil, to choose good from our own choice, and then transcend the physical realm of limitation to the unlimited realm. Remember, the unlimited realm is not just a place of floating heads or a consciousness or a void. It's actually a more of a physical realm than here. It's just translucent, and also it is a protoplasmic realm, which is a realm of light, essentially. This physical realm is just the negative polarity of spirit. So this physical realm is just spirit slowed down to the lowest point where it becomes physical. That higher plane also has physical appearances, forms, etc., except you're in an unlimited capacity and able to access the ether and the divine mind, and also have an all-knowing, because you're not actually numbed by the aspects of the body. See, when you meditate, you actually crucify by the aspects of the body. See, when you meditate, you actually crucify on the cross, because once you crucify the four senses, or the four elements, earth, water, fire, and air, and the five senses, and you bring the spotlight into the center of yourself, then you're actually able to transcend this realm and access the point of the 0 point energy, which allows you essentially to surf the inner cosmos. So the Supreme Lord in this sense is the highest ideal, the organizing factor of universe, love and wisdom, fully combined, manifesting as knowledge. And that was the voice or the sound that the Father or God created when he first emanated from his self, that cosmic sound, that noise, is the marching voice of a army of Christ. As Samuel Weor had said, that Christ is a eternal cosmic army of the voice of the supreme divine reason, and is the complete antithesis of atheism, nihilism, and complete uh, essentially the full carnal materialistic aspect of the mind. For example, if you were to activate the opposite of the divine good of immortal spirit, then you worship death in the physical realm and the temporary plane only. And those legions of people that do that, they become lords and legions over the physical plane, and they're the ones that run the bloodlines and essentially try to keep humans enslaved. There's a battle going on for consciousness between good and evil, and not only in the physical realm, but the higher realm. Just like in the Bible says, we battle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, beings of the ether, essentially, archetypes and principalities. And essentially, we're waging war with these on our mind. And there is a war to keep souls earthbound and to become the astral lords of the physical lords that keep humans enslaved to co-opt their energy, essentially. And that's how they feed on their energy, because they're no longer immortal. So, what should the initiate do? And he finds himself in this physical realm full of turmoil. Let me just make sure everything is good on the stream. It's good. Let's see. All right, yep, it looks like we're rolling. So let's keep rolling then. All right. So, how do we access these higher realms and dimensions? We have to access the lost word of Freemasonry, which is the inner sound. Once you silence your mind, begin to put your attention on this inner sound. To some, it sounds like a cricket. To some, it sounds like a ring. To some, it sounds like a high pitched noise in between the temples. Sound is the least dense of earth, water, air, and fire, in which each have this source in sound. Everything that we see has its source in sound. As we said, the divine word in the beginning that emanated from the Father was sound. Now, put your attention on this inner sound current, and it will put you in touch with the great now, the great it. This sound is the sound that everyone else hears. It is the logos and the om of the Upanishads. And when you access this inner sound, you're able to go within yourself and access the inner planes. If you focus on it all the way until you fall asleep, you should be able to practically wake up on these higher planes. But the problem is, it's hard to place our attention on this sound because the monkey mind tends to want us to wander to other experiences. And there's multiple facets of meditation. So the aspect of chant and praying, first to purify the heart and senses. So you could do the Hare Krishna mantra, or a Christian prayer, or any type of aspect that helps you inflame your reverence and open up your heart as a soul, being the individualized multiplicity of the one. Essentially, the soul is feminine in nature just because it's the multiplicity and the emanation and the individualized separate. So when you're chanting, you're putting you in touch with the soul, with the super soul, which is in the higher realms, essentially. So first you chant and pray to purify the heart and senses. Practice the inner smile, or the Mona Lisa smile of the ancient Taoists, which is where you slightly smile without smiling on your face. Just slightly smile within and create a sense of calm. And the same feeling you'd feel as smiling with your face, feel that you're smiling with your being. And then create a point of focus within. That's where you create the personal point of consciousness, which allows you to go into the part of yourself that's not physical. A lot of people would overcome depression and depravity and feelings of hopelessness if they access the part of themselves that is the spirit rather than the physical senses of the body being enslaved or within the physical self or the soul. You can access the point of focus within and find the part where you're connected to this physical body ethereally, and then also utilizing the sun and moon by having your eyes slightly open. What I mean by that is the sun is your eyes open, being able to see the light, and moon is darkness. So, what you want to do is instead of closing your eyes fully and meditating, you're going to want to have your eyes slightly open. So, you're going to have them halfway open and halfway closed. This way, you're able to access both yin and yang and cross the left and right hemispheres of the brain and enter into eternity and transcending time. You've all entered into eternity when you feel like you've almost slept only for a few seconds, but it feels like hours. And almost you were partially awake while that happened. So you're kind of conscious of crossing over the ocean of eternity. And then, of course, placing the tongue at the roof of the mouth to complete that energy circuit, because there's always energy accumulating at the lower densian or the lower cauldron of the body at the bottom of the spine. And that energy needs to vaporize and utilize the electrical circuits to rise up the spine, or up the head and down, back in. So you have a warming and a cooling resting in the heart. One of the main tips of initiation in exploring the mysteries is to begin to completely forget you are a body. Once your attention has been withdrawn from the outside world, like a turtle withdrawn into its shell, practice rhythmic breathing and completely become absorbed in the soul, as it states in the Upanishads. Once in this state, you move beyond time and into eternity. So essentially what you're going to want to do is, like a turtle withdrawn into its shell, take your consciousness from the center, pull in your senses of sound, sight, touch, feeling, hearing, place your attention on the part of yourself that's connected to your body via Wi-Fi, essentially, and essentially become absorbed in that 0 point energy. And once in this state, you move beyond time and eternity and are able to make changes in the causal, mental, and astral planes, which will then ripple into the physical realm as the tree of life does. Picture water going in the top and trickling down, which will then ripple into the physical realm as the tree of life does. Picture water going in the top and trickling down. The main purposes of meditation are to transmute energy from the lower chakras into the brain and extract information from the inner plane. If you go into meditation without a intention, then you will access Brahman, but you won't necessarily extract information. If you go into meditation with an intention, as also before you go to sleep, never go to sleep without an intention. Every time you go to sleep or meditate, you can utilize this to actually extract information. Extract information. Your life is a labyrinth. Your life is a beautiful story, an epic, a drama. And you are on a mission here to acquire knowledge and to understand yourself and to acquire wisdom on all the twists and turns and journey of life. So we need to use meditation as the hermit used his lantern to explore the darkness and to make the darkness light, to make the subconscious of information. But you have to meditate inherently, and you have to have an open mind and heart. Essentially, become an empty cup and become receptive. So we could do meditation for up to 30 minutes where we sit still and simply watch our thoughts and impressions without trying to control them. This has been taught by Israel Regardie, renowned Western esotericist, as well as Saint Swami Vivekananda of the East. This initiatory practice is unlike others because you do not have to control anything other than the body movement. Breath is normal, think is normal, but do not move even a scratch or a twitch. The body should be still, the mind alert, and watching the thoughts and emotions without trying to control them. This practice will help the initiate become acquainted with the different aspects of the entity it resides in, such as the understanding the body and the mind. As the initiate watches the thoughts, there becomes a separation between these two faucets. You will then be able to comprehend the part of you that is the body, the part of you that is the mind, and the part of you that is the witness, and then the being itself as well, and be able to put them in separate categories within yourself, so you know which one you're utilizing at any given moment. The body will want to move. The mind will bring up random thoughts. Whatever happens must be recorded in the magical journal directly after the practice. The initiate will realize Malkuth on the tree of life, which is the bottom Sephiroth, Malkuth being the physical body. The astral plane is in Yesod, the one above Malkuth. We have to become awake in Malkuth, and this practice brings awareness to the body, which then, once we activate Malkuth, we can then begin exploring the astral plane. In our future live presentation, we're going to be going through how to act. The most important thing you can do for your spiritual growth is to pay attention. Realize you were sleeping even while in the waking state. Meditation helps you come into contact with this inner darkness within, and using the light of the single eye, you extinguish the darkness. Once in this darkness, the melatonin activates in the pineal gland, magnetically amplifies, and the oil from the sacrum floats up the river, the Jordan River, and lights the lantern within. You should be able to actually see progress and experience actual spiritual phenomenon by actually seeing the great light within. Instead of darkness, you'll see light. Do it for yourself and see for yourself. So then I've given you some keys to utilize meditation in a way that puts you directly in touch with the causal spiritual plane through sound, the inner sound, the silence, the darkness, the energy circuits and the nadis, the vibration, and that will help warp you to help you transcend. Identify with the spirit. Learn to discard your identification with the body. That's essentially what the ancient initiates were doing. They essentially experienced the death of the ego and the physical death of this realm, and were able to transmute the lower vehicles into the higher vehicles. And essentially, when they died, they instantaneously transferred into the subtle realms, the astral plane or the causal plane or the celestial realms, essentially where all the archetypes exist. Yep. And then if anyone wants to book a consultation, check out the wellness store, or also check out the book that just dropped. Take a look at the description. I provided the 3 links. Santos is going to be doing some how to be a competent astrologer on his Patreon. He might even show up on my channel coming up. It's been a while since I went live. I wanted to make sure we continue the movement. And if anyone has any questions, let me know. Join the Patreon. It's free. Of course, we always support and appreciate. If you want to be part of the syncretism team, there's options to learn about various ways to escape the matrix and whatnot as well. But yeah, thanks so much. Have a good night.